Hey everyone, and welcome back to Fine Print. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for giving so much love to the A-Push and WAP review episodes this year. Although they were quite time taking to make, I'm happy that they were useful for the AP exam. Today, we are going to be starting a new series on Fine Print called What If, where we analyze the past and what would have happened if a particular moment or event in history would have gone one way over the other. We all know the story of Hitler's rise to power. After the humiliation Germany received after the Treaty of Versailles, requiring Germany to reduce its army size, remove its navy, lose Rhineland as a demilitarized zone, accept the blame for the war, and pay reparations to the Allies, the Weimar Republic was established in Germany, which was a loose, democratic government meant to restabilize Germany. Its weak political leadership, economic failure, and instability led to deep resentment amongst the Germans, who were looking for a more stable, strong, and aligned power that sought to return Germany to greatness. Another party, called the German Socialist Workers' Party, was taking shape in Germany in the early 1900s. The party united the German middle class workers and those who resented the Weimar Republic together. One young man by the name of Adolf Hitler joined this party and soon became its leader, renaming it the Nazi Party. He completely altered the ideologies and methodologies of the party, promoting anti Semitism, the superiority of the Aryan race, and the persecution of minority races in Europe. But have you ever wondered what would have happened if Adolf Hitler didn't get into politics? Why did he get into politics? Historical whys can never be answered with just one perspective. Thus, Hitler's ascent to politics had a multitude of reasons. Resentment over the infamous Treaty of Versailles, political uprisings, instability in the European continent, and desperate populations looking for a strong willed leader. Combined, these changes in Germany gave Hitler the perfect breeding grounds to enter politics. But what was his motive? Adolf Hitler was born to Alois Hitler and Clara Hitler. He was very close to his mother, Clara, while his father was very strict and often abused him. His mother died when he was just 18 years old, leading to early emotional trauma in Hitler's developing years. He was an average student and held a deep passion for art and non conventional activities in school. He later applied to the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna, hoping to secure an admission and spend the rest of his life in solace, painting in Vienna. To his dismay, he was rejected not just once, but twice, fueling resentment, bitterness, and hatred that he eventually directed towards innocent groups. He lived in poverty and was soon exposed to German nationalist agendas, promoting his anti Marxist and anti Semitic beliefs. He began to blame the suffering and humiliation of Germany on the Jewish population, which played out into his politics. Hitler later moved to Munich to avoid being enlisted in the Austro-Hungarian army, stemming from his belief of the racial purity of the Germans as compared to the Austrians. When the First World War broke out, Hitler joined the German army out of a strong patriotism and nationalism. His strong Aryan superiority mindset, along with the surrender of Germany in 1918, the Kaiser or the King's abdication, the rise of the weak Weimar Republic, and the German laws from the Treaty of Versailles all led to Hitler's rise to power. His radical rise to power and the events that unfolded after it are known to most. After refining the inner workings of the Nazi Party, he went on a mission of ethnic cleansing, meant to purify the German land by removing the Jewish people once and for all. This period, known as the Holocaust, was one of the most tragic humanitarian abuses history has seen. Millions of Jewish men, women, and children lost their lives in tragic ways to an ideology that considered them inhumane. By the end of the Holocaust, an estimated 6 million Jews, 7 million Soviet civilians, 1,800,000 Polish civilians, 3 million Soviet prisoners of war, and many more innocent men, women, and children lost their lives, all because of one man, Adolf Hitler, and his ideologies. But what if Hitler had gotten into the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna? What if his mother had lived longer and his father wasn't abusive? What if the Germans had won the First World War? What if a more strong government had risen in Germany in place of the Weimar Republic? While the number of what ifs that can be raised is countless when it comes to the life of Adolf Hitler, the art school theory is the one that is the most prominent. So let's answer it. What would have happened if Hitler was accepted into the Fine Arts Academy? While Hitler's personality and eccentricity would have been a constant, he would have been less likely to join the military or believe in radical politics. Instead, he would have probably pursued a career in painting in either Austria or Germany. This nonviolent and peaceful scenario could have led to the avoidance of the Holocaust and anti Semitism, which in turn could have meant less Zionist feelings in Europe, which would have meant less Jewish migration to the Gaza Strip, which could have played out into the present day conflict between Palestine and Israel. Although this seems like the most likely answer to the what if question, it is quite likely that Hitler would have still found a way into radical right wing nationalism. As I previously mentioned, Hitler was always anti Semitic, and it had nothing to do with his military or political agenda. It was a concept engraved into his mind ever since his youth. Thus, even though he would have become a painter, he would have still had brewing nationalist ideas in the background, which could have led to him eventually joining politics. But instead of him being the Fuhrer, he might have simply joined a right wing party under another fascist leader. If this had happened, World War II would have still come in full force for Germany, but under a different German leadership. Maybe the non aggression pact wouldn't have been signed between Hitler and Stalin that allowed them to divide Poland. Maybe Germany would have pursued a different method to win the war. Maybe the new German leader would have been more focused on the German political agenda and less on the disputes between those believing in Aryan superiority. Although we can spend hours talking about potential scenarios that could have unfolded if Hitler had gotten admitted into art school, the true answer is that nobody knows what would have truly played out. Individuals change, circumstances change, demands change, and with that, history changes. Thus, take these potential scenarios with a grain of salt and fuel your own curiosity about what could have unfolded in Germany if Hitler hadn't entered the world of politics. Until then, keep listening to Fine Print, where we post episodes every other Friday, and keep reading between the lines.